Well, welcome, Stephanie. We're so delighted to have Stéphanie Laflamme here to talk to us a little bit about what we mean by conscious leadership and why it's important today to bring consciousness to leadership. So welcome, Stephanie. I was interested when I read your bio that you call yourself a pilgrim of consciousness. And it made me curious about how you define or describe consciousness.
Just the fact that I position myself as a pilgrim means for me that I'm still discovering or uncovering what is consciousness. I guess it's just a curiosity, a never-ending curiosity about what is this thing we call consciousness? What I've discovered so far is that there's something about awareness of what is, and a little bit of something about acceptance of what is as well. In consciousness and with this awareness, for me, there is also this deliberate and intentional choice of what to do next, or how to be next, or how to show up next. And being a pilgrim in consciousness is kind of, for me, is claiming my own personal power that is there every second of every day within me to decide, how do I want to show up in this moment? So being a pilgrim of consciousness, it's a little bit this, although consciousness is still it's still a term I'm discovering, but I guess this is how I could explain it today.
Great. That sounds great. And because we often hear the term and it's, we all have different meanings for it. And I agree with you. It's really hard to sort of pin it down. It means different things to different people. So what makes me curious about that too is, why is it important for us to bring consciousness to leadership?
Leadership is a role that by definition impacts a lot of other people. And the opposite of consciousness would be just leading in a way that's unintentional, that's just whatever happens, I'm going to react in a way that is not chosen. And it's a little bit like operating on autopilot. So bringing consciousness to leadership implies, again, this presence and the acceptance of what is, in order to show up in a way that seems, I'm not sure it's the right word in English, but that seems just, that seems well adjusted for the context and for my own inner purpose. And why it's important right now, I would say there are many reasons. One of them is, I think that as a species, human beings are there in their development. As a species, I think we're invited by the context to step up to this conscious leadership. So I think this is why it's so important right now. And because the impact leaders can have on so many other people, if they're showing up more conscious, then my belief is that it will influence other people. It will impact other people in a way that they will also step into more consciousness. And then that ripple effect will happen. Another reason I think why it's so important at this moment is that our world is getting more and more complex. I think the pandemic was a very good example of the necessity of conscious leadership, because we're so complex, because there's so much disruption, that VUCA world that many of us are talking about. But because of that, I believe that one of the ideal way to meet this complexity is with consciousness and be deliberate, Because if not, we're just going to become reactive and fall into, that brain like a fight or freeze, or we're just going to fight or freeze, and we're not going to be showing up in a way that meets today's challenges. That was a very long
Yeah.
answer.
No, that's really fascinating. And as you were describing that, it made me think of how when people show up consciously, they're aware of how they impact others, and what is the effect of their leadership on others.